Welcome to the Generic Tech Support YouTube channel. By watching this channel, you are accepting that the content on this channel is intended for educational purposes only. We strive to provide valuable information to help you enhance your technical understanding. We do not condone the use of pirated software. Please respect local copyright laws and support software developers by using legitimate purchased products. All testing conducted on this channel is done in compliance with the Consumer Review Fairness Act and the United States Fair Use Act under Copyright Law, Section 107 of the U.S. Copyright Act. We aim to provide honest reviews, security configuration tricks, tips, and how-tos. While we make every effort to deliver 100% tested solutions, we acknowledge that we don't know everything. If you have additional insights or corrections, please share them in the comments. Like and subscribe to keep up with the latest OS reviews and security tips. Your support helps us continue to provide valuable content.
Hey guys. So in today's video, I figured we would tackle something a little different. This is not a build. This is a software package. So this particular software package is designed for Windows XP, specifically Service Pack 3 out of the box configuration, no updates. Now the reason why I think this is an interesting package is because it works a lot like KernelX used to work on Windows 98 and 95. Now some of you guys might specifically ask, what is KernelX? Well, what KernelX was a package that used to be able to run on Windows 95 and 98, or Windows ME for that matter, really the 9X package, which would allow you to run Windows XP binary. So basically anything that would run on Windows XP would then run on a Windows 9X platform. So I started to think to myself, what if that worked on Windows XP to run, like Windows 10 and Windows 11 software? So, I jumped into the divine internet and ran through all of the internet websites I could find to try to find old forum information for KernelX. And the reason why is because I figured that's a good place for me to start to see if I could find a package that would run on XP to allow us to run modern browsers, modern software, modern applications, maybe adjust memory quotas, set up Windows XP just like we would run a Windows 11 or a Windows 10 desktop. And I came across something really interesting. What I came across was a package specifically called OneCoreAPI. Now, this apparently has been in development since 2018, 2019, around that time period. So about 5 or 6 years, so it should be pretty well developed at this point, I would think. It may not be done, may still be in beta, but it should be pretty well developed. So then once I found out about this package, what I needed to do is I had to figure out where it existed. And I found the Git repository. And once I found the Git repository, it took a little jumping around through there to find the actual executables to install it on Windows XP. So I found those executables. Let's install them on a Windows XP Service Pack 3 machine and see if this security update package or this application update package that was created compares to KernelX. Will it allow us to run modern browsers? Will it allow us to run more memory? What will it do to our XP experience? Can we actually use it as a modern operating system once we have all that stuff installed? And then at that point, is it possible to maybe install our Granite package on top of it? Let's take a look at this and see what we get. What we might do first, I think, is probably just see if we can get the core API stuff installed. And then once we get all that installed, let's run a Nessus scan against the system to see what we see as far as security is concerned. Does it change anything? Does it lower security? Does it fix anything? Do we get any flags? What does an antivirus see on the actual application? Does it go crazy? The reason why I say that is because we're going to start using unsigned DLL files on the actual system. They're custom binaries that were created specifically for XP to try to hybrid it with Windows 11 and Windows 10. And I'm curious what that looks like from an antivirus and a security perspective. But more so, I'm curious, can we use the operating system as a day-to-day driver once we get that done? And I mean more so at ease. I realize that we could run MyPal, the third-party browser. That does work, but it's a little clunky. And if we could get away with running modern browser, that would be way cooler. So let's see what happens when we install that package. Okay guys, so I've already taken the steps to get the package actually moved to the system here. So let's jump into the C drive and into our famous tools directory. And we have our OneCore API binary. So we're going to open that, go to the x86 because this is XP Professional, which was a 32-bit operating system. And in here, we're going to have our API installation packages. Now, I had to read through all the documentation already, specifically as to how to install this, because the README doesn't really contain the information as to which ones of these do we install in what order. So when you get this, it's not going to have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're going to have to figure that out based off of the actual location, or you could screenshot this and then, you know, just mimic the actual package naming, so that way you can get the packages installed. So I haven't installed this yet. This is the first time I'm installing it, so I don't know really what to expect. If it'll work, if it'll blue screen, does it actually function? Can we install browsers, things of that nature? So let's get this package installed. Now, what I did is this particular system, I pre-allocated this system to have 8 gigs of memory. I don't think we have, yeah, see, we're only showing 3 gigs, but we have 8 gigs allocated to the system already. And this is a vanilla, right out of the box, no configuration done system. So what we're going to do is we're going to install these packages, see if we get the increase in memory first. And then after we do that, what we'll do is we will go back into here and see if we can install a modern browser. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to double click on the one. Now, something that I do want to point out is this machine does have an internet connection. The reason why is because one of these packages, according to the actual Git repository, indicates that you need an internet connection so that way it can connect to a wget, so it actually downloads specific DLL files and things from the actual location. I believe it's pulling them from the Microsoft update location, but then slipstreaming the updates specifically through the package directly to the Windows XP system. I'm not 100% sure on that. If you want to reach out to the Git the developer to ask him questions about it, I'm sure he would be willing to help you. I'll put the link to his location in the wiki that I have, so that way you could get there, including where to get the package to do the download and the install. YouTube's a little funky about URLs, so again, if you just go to the main screen and the main channel location there, the splash screen, I guess the root directory for lack of better terms, and just follow the wiki. You could grab the URLs, the links, and everything off of there. But yeah, you would have to reach out to the developer. He could give you a little more information. Again, I'm not a developer. I'm just, you know, a security guy. So let's see if we could get this package installed, and let's go from there. Okay, no guts, no glory, I guess. Okay, guys, so the first package is installing right now. It is extracting the file specifically to this folder. Once it finishes the extraction, we should get a pop-up here to notify us that we have to actually click Next to go through the installation process. Okay, so we got our pop-up. Chances are we're going to have to reboot after this, but let's just go from here. So we'll just click on Next. We'll agree and click on Next. Now you'll notice in here you're responsible for the installation of the software, causes any issues with your system. Yeah, I mean, obviously we're installing something that's a package that's could be run on any of those operating systems. There's a strong possibility that this is not going to work, and if it does work, we may have errors, we may have issues. I believe that this was actually written specifically for React OS, so you could run the later operating system stuff. And I'm guessing that what they did is they slipstreamed the React OS updates and configuration into the XP modules, so it works. But again, I'm not 100% sure. That's questions you'd have to ask the dev. So we'll just click on Next. All right, so we're installing. So yeah, we're going to the WSUS. So we're downloading Windows updates. We get a network error. That's interesting. So the system does have access. So it's weird that we're getting a network error. But, you know, who knows what that means. It means that, you know, it could mean that we're missing parts of the package, so this may not work. I guess we'll be able to tell when we finish it. We're going to restart the system. I know we could click the do not restart, but according to the dev site, after every single one of these updates, we should reboot the system. So let's just follow the instructions to see if we could complete this and actually get an operating system that fully functions. So let me reboot this and we'll kick off number 2. Okay, so we're back up and running. Let's click on start. First, let's see what that package did. Did it allow us to increase memory? Yeah, so cool. That first package right there, right? So we got 7.93 gigs of RAM. That's awesome. So I'm on XP with almost 8 gigs of memory on a 32-bit OS. Whether or not I could actually use all of that, that's to be determined, but it does say that I have 8 gigs of memory. I mean, at that point, there's absolutely no reason at all for me to run any kind of page file on XP, right? 8 gigs of memory is huge on an XP system. Yeah, total available. So yeah, we have 8 gigs of memory on the system at this point. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's continue on our installation process here. Let's go to number 2. All right, so we're going to extract the file again to this location. And I'm assuming once that finishes, we'll get the pop-up, which we did. So we'll click on Next. We'll agree. Again, we're responsible. Next. Let's see what takes place here. All right, so yep, once again, we got to reboot. So let's reboot it. We'll kick off on number 3. So some of the other cool things that this package apparently does is the installation process gives us the ability to run an M.2 hard drive. So it'll actually support SAS configuration on hard drives with drivers. So you could install this particular OS with this package on it on a modern piece of hardware. You know, a multi-core modern piece of hardware would support it. Now, whether or not that means it's usable, that's a different story, but you still could then theoretically run it on, you know, a brand new laptop with 16 cores and, you know, 16 or 32 or 64 gigs of memory. According to the Git repository, it does indicate that you could run it on up to 128 gigs of memory, which is huge on a 32-bit operating system. But I mean, we're talking XP, which came on a 733 megabyte disk. I mean, you know, that's a tremendous amount of memory for Windows XP. So let's get package number 3 installed now. So once again, we'll extract, click on Next, agree, Next. I will say, it does feel snappier. Finish. It doesn't require a reboot. We're still going to reboot the system. So let's do that, and then we will jump back in this. Okay, we're back up. We're going to go into number 4. Now, one of these packages, I don't know which one, but one of these packages actually installs a driver pack. I'm guessing it's probably the actual driver update, so number 5. But in that package, slipstreams and integrates the ability to run DirectX 11 on Windows XP, which is pretty awesome. So yeah, let's continue on here. So we're on number 4. We're going to click on Next, agree. And we'll click on Finish. We're going to do another reboot here, and once the system comes back up, we'll kick off number 5. Okay, we're back up and running again. Let's go into number 5. Next, and agree, and next. Finish. We'll do reboot, and we'll launch the last package. Okay, we're back up and running. Let's just run that last package. Okay, so that's all of them. I'm going to do one last reboot. Let's bring the system back up. Okay, so we came back up. We have no errors. So we aren't seeing any blue screens or any funkiness, but that said, I did reboot after every installation of every package. That may change if I don't. With that said, though, I do also have, you know, 8 gigs of memory on a Windows XP system, which is pretty dope. The question I think would be now is, what do you do with this, right? Because, yeah, you can increase the performance, but if you can't get out to the internet, what the heck's the point? You know, we could run MyPal, but that, you know, why run that package if you're going to run MyPal? So I think what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to try two different things. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to install Google Chrome straight, which may or may not work because according to the Git repository, the installer still will see that it's Windows XP and block you from running it. However, according to the Git repository in another location indicates you can run the modern version of Chrome or even Microsoft Edge if you grab it from a Windows 10 system. So if we could grab the package as it would be installed out of the documents and settings in this scenario, or the users directory in the Windows 10 directory and put it on the XP system, I'm wondering if we could just run it. Because again, Chrome doesn't really install, there's not like registry keys with Chrome except for the Chrome updating service, but we don't need that to run it. So I'm curious if we could just grab the package and move it. So let's give it a try first and see if we could just install it. And if that doesn't work, we will attempt to grab the package and move it from another system to see if that works. Okay, so I moved Google Chrome version 122 over to this machine. Now I know that's a little older, but according to the Git repository, it only supports up to version 128, which is still way newer than what would actually run. So let's see if I could do the installation. It may still throw an error. If it doesn't, though, that would be awesome. That said, if it does, I'll spin up one of the test Windows 10 machines I have. I'll put version 122 on it without an internet connection. We'll grab the files and we'll copy them over to see if that will work. So let's take a look first to see if we could do a straight install. I'm wondering if maybe I need to disconnect the internet first before I try this, but we'll see. Yeah, no, so we still fail because it's not a supported operating system, but that doesn't necessarily mean we can't copy it over from another system. So let's just jump on a Windows 10 machine real quick and attempt to do the install on that and then grab the files necessary to copy them. Okay, so we are on XP. This is a 64-bit platform, so this may or may not work. I don't know yet. It is 1803. I'm attempting to install our Google software here, so we'll see what happens. It is 120, 32-bit edition, so it's possible it'll work, but it's also possible it won't. So we'll see what happens. All right, so it worked. Obviously can't update, which is good because if it updates, we'll kind of destroy what the purpose of this was. So let's see if we can grab the files now and copy them off. All right, so I'll kind of go through the process here, even if you guys already know how to do this. Basically what we'll do is we'll go properties, and you can see the actual location where the executable is running. Not the start in, but the actual application location. So if we grab this path, I mean, you can do open file location, which will do the same thing, right? So we need to go presumably to here and actually copy this. I'll just paste it on the desktop for the time being. Now what we want to do is we want to see if we have anything in our users location, which we probably do. Go to app data. So there we go. We got Chrome in here too. So that's under app data local. We screwed ourselves. It's both named the same thing. Obviously can't have the same thing on both sides. So we're going to just delete that real quick. And we will copy this. You know what we'll do is we'll do program files. We'll do we'll do roaming. Okay. So we'll grab the program files from here. We'll copy these, paste them in here. Copy that, paste that. Go up a level, go to roaming. We don't have anything in roaming. Okay. I'm guessing, yeah, we don't have anything in local. Low. So we should be good at this point just to grab these things and copy them over. Let's jump in the registry real quick and see if Google created anything. Okay, so let's start the registry editor. And then honestly, what we could do is just do find, type in Google. All right, so we have elevation service. That's like UAC stuff. We don't need that. Let's find anything else in here. It's the Google update, which once again, we don't need that. So we could export this. Let's go to the desktop, package, create a new folder here and call it registry. Save that. But you know, I just can't win today. So that's gonna go to, I don't know if that's necessary or not. We'll find out here. You know what? I'm not even going to bother going through all this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to grab the stuff that we have minus the registry stuff. I'm not going to install the registry stuff, but I'll copy this over so that way we could grab it from the other machine. And let's take a look to see if we can run that package directly off the other machine. Okay, so we're back on XP, copied over the package as it sits. Let's grab the program files first. Interesting. Maybe if we close that first. Okay. Now, before I copy anything over, because I don't know that it's necessary yet to copy over our Google from our local data. I mean, we could go into there and prep for that. I don't think it's app data. I think it's app. I can't remember what it is off of XP, if I'm honest with you. So I think what we're going to do is just we'll go to folder options and we'll show the hidden files. That's application data. My bad. It's been a long time. You know what? I'm not going to bother with that yet. So let's jump over here and let's run our Chrome shortcut. Holy crap, it works. All right, so we're running modern Chrome on Windows XP. I don't know about you, but I really didn't expect this to work. So we are on version 120. And just so you guys could see, I'm not cheating. Oops. This machine is not happy about this, by the way. I mean, it does work, but it is not happy that it's doing stuff. I've pretty much lost access to it. I think it's because we only have 2 cores of a CPU, technically, because that's all I have allocated to this. What we should probably do is we should probably shut this thing down and add another 2 cores and see if it will run with 4 cores. But yeah, it's got 2 cores. It's using 1.7 gigs of page file. It does have 8 gigs of allocated resources. But yeah, to show that I'm not cheating, let's go to my computer and go to properties. Yeah, so it's XP Service Pack 3. And it'll tell us that we can't run updates because we need Windows 10 or later. But it is running version 120. I mean, that's pretty cool, isn't it? I think that's pretty awesome. So that means you can run a modern browser on Windows XP. Let's shut this thing down and add another 2 cores and see if it works. Okay, so we just came back up. I'm sorry the screen's kind of shrunk. I'm having a problem right now with VMware. For whatever reason, the latest update doesn't like Linux anymore. It seems to be, ever since Broadcom took them over, they've kind of not been as good as when Dell owned them. They're far more expensive, but God, they're nowhere near as good. So let's go here now and let's see. So I just allocated 4 cores. So can we see it? No, we can't. So yeah, I don't care. Yeah, that's fine. Well, maybe it is. It's doing something. I'm not sure what just took place. Let's reboot again and see if it actually worked, because it did bark about the additional processor core configuration. So it's possible that we can use 4 cores with this package. Let's reboot it and see if that matters. All right, guys, so we just came back up. Let's just jump into Task Manager real quick. No, we're still using 2 cores. So we can allocate more resources as far as memory, but we can't allocate more cores. That said, we can support DirectX 11, and the modern version of Google Chrome does work. I mean modern to a sense. So, 122 is still older than the current version, but it's way newer than the version that was available before, and it's still way better than MyPal is as far as browsers, at least in my opinion. So having the ability to use a full Chrome package, I think, is a win. With that said, I do think that this is a really cool package. Let's scan this thing with Nessus and see what it thinks of it. So I just went into our network adapter to check to see, well, specifically I had to set the static IP address because I wanted to set it so that way we could connect to our Nessus scanner so we could run our scan. And in doing that, I found something really interesting. That's IPv6. So we have IPv6 now installed on Windows XP, which is pretty freaking cool. So we now have the ability to run IP version 6 on a Windows XP machine, which doesn't exist in the original version of XP. So that's another add-on that's this package installed. So let's get that IP address changed and let's run our Nessus scan. Okay guys, so while that is running, I figure what we should do is we should just take a look at the baseline. So this is just our Windows XP baseline. This doesn't have anything at all as far as our configuration or any other configuration on it. This is just an out-of-the-box configuration, so as if you were scanning it after you did the initial install with no updates. And this is what we would see is the 4 critical, 2 high, 1 medium, 1 low, and 27 info. And I suspect we should see exactly the same thing on our OneCoreAPI version. So let's let that thing scan, and once it finishes, we'll kick this video off and we'll take a look to see what that scan results show. Is it the same? I'm thinking it should be the same. Okay guys, so the scan finished, and as you can see, it's actually better. So it's 2 critical, 1 high, and 25 info. So whatever the system applies as far as updates are concerned seem to actually be better than the out-of-the-box configuration. So it's still not as good as, like, say, our Granite build, which is pretty much complete at this point. It's just trying to figure out how I'm going to release it. But the reality is that it's still fine. I mean, I don't see any. There's no viruses that come across on the actual system. We already know that it's an unsupported OS, so that's nothing new. The multiple issues for the SMB, well, we know that already. We know that there's SMB issues on the thing. And the rest of the stuff is, it is what it is. I don't see anything really in here that would indicate that this is infected. The antivirus scan that's built into the Tenable Nessus scanner is actually probably one of the better ones that exists. And the fact that it doesn't see a virus on that system, it doesn't see anything as far as like listening or sending traffic. So I'd say we're in pretty good shape, at least from a security perspective, on our OneCoreAPI build here. So I'm going to put in the description the details of this package. However, if you want to specifically download the package, I'll add the links inside of my wiki so you can get to them. I'll be honest with you, the package download, if you go to the main site for the OneCoreAPI, good luck. It took me an hour to find the package to download it. Unfortunately, I didn't write down the link because I really didn't expect this to work. It does work, and now I'm kicking myself for not writing down the link. So I'll see if I can find it, but if I can't, then what I'll do is I'll just put the package in the Google Drive. I'll put the link to the Google Drive inside of the wiki. You can grab the package, the same exact one that I ran here, and just copy that down. I will tell you straight off the bat that this particular version does not work with Nlight. So if your idea is you're going to grab it and then create an Nlight package to do the installation, it will not work because none of the DLL files that are required in order to run the latest version of Chrome and things, none of them are signed. So as a result, you can't use unsigned packages in Nlight. It'll just bark and then puke. So that does not work. You also can't slipstream updates from Windows 10 and 11, or rather Windows 10 32-bit edition into Windows XP through the Nlight configuration. It just doesn't work right. There are other alternative package building software out there that you could use to do this, but Nlight will not work, so I'll save you the headache of trying to go through that. So tell me, guys, what do you think? You think this is cool? I think it's awesome. Leave a comment down below. I'm curious if you think it's cool too, because maybe I'm just crazy thinking that XP with modern browsers, 8 gigs of memory, but still, again, sadly, only 2 cores supported. But I do think this is an awesome build, and props to the dev that's doing it. Specifically, his name goes by SkullTrail192. Check him out on the Git repository. Send him some love. Maybe donate to the project or something, because this is definitely dope. So before I end this, one last thing that I will throw out there is this package does not work on like Integral or probably not the Granite package either. And the reason why is because the Granite package installs security configuration to block unsigned DLL files to protect you. So I would need to go into the configuration and change some configuration things in order for the integration to work correctly, which I'm not saying is out of the realm of possibilities in the future. It's just not something I want to tackle right now. With that said, this is pretty slick, and I'm looking forward to messing around with it a little more and learning a little more about the operating system now that it's got this package installed. Presumably, even just testing to see, yeah, I could open the browser, but do websites actually function? Because again, 8 gigs of memory is great and all, but 2 cores is rough. It just is, because modern software is big, heavy, and bloated, and XP is not used to having that. It becomes top heavy. So I don't know if it'll be functional. We may have to make some changes. I mean, maybe we could expand the MFT file, defrag the page file, do some configurations on the actual system for performance side to see if we could increase the performance enough that we could actually use the Chrome package. And if that's the case, and that's something you'd be interested in, leave it in the comments, and I'll grab another video in the future and we'll put that together and see if we could, speed up this particular build so you can actually use these modern browsers. But with that said, it does work. Presumably, it also works with other things like modern Office. It apparently will also support things like Spotify and Zoom, Teams. So I mean, that's pretty cool stuff, man. I mean, the ability to use it with modern applications is pretty sweet. Whether or not it's functional with those modern applications, that's a different story. But from a proof of concept, this thing's awesome. And props to the guy who developed it, because this is definitely slick. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Happy Thanksgiving. You guys take it easy.